If you're just joining us, some sad breaking news to bring you on talkSPORT. Former West Ham United and Newcastle United manager Glenn Roeder has passed away at the age of 65 after a long battle with brain tumour. Let me welcome in former West Ham goalkeeper David James, who played under Glenn Roeder. David, what type of manager was he? We've had some fantastic stories from Perry Groves. What's your memory of him, and what kind of manager was he?
Good afternoon, chaps. It's shame that I'm on the call because of this matter. Yeah, truth, I'm shocked slightly. Glenn, I was his first signing at West Ham. He was adamant that he wanted me to be his first signing as a manager. I mean, Glenn was also a teammate of mine at Watford. As I was starting my career, he was technically ending his, I suppose, as a player. Wonderful bloke. Really, one of the kindest managers you find in football. If anything, maybe to a fault that he was that way inclined. But obviously he welcomed me to West Ham. We had some indifferent form over a couple of seasons, and as I understand it, although the true details to what's occurred today aren't out there at the moment, but it's on the back of what happened when he was managing with regards to his brain tumour, what happened when he was at West Ham many years ago. So, I'm shocked because, I've seen Glenn since he was a manager at West Ham, and as always, 100% wonderful guy.
Yeah, I can still hear the shock in your voice now. And look, it's going to be a shock. Obviously, this has come as a shock to everyone. When you think of him as a manager, you've worked under so many different managers and different variations of managers, managers that put your arm around you, managers that throw boots at you. What kind of manager was he? Was he a manager that kind of put your arm around you, someone you could go and talk to when you had problems outside of football, possibly?
Well, I never spoke to managers about outside stuff, but I mean, Glenn, as I say, because he was such a warm bloke. Of course, there was bits where he would put his arm around you. There was times where he would lose his rag and let you know at the same time. I mean, he wasn't a pushover by any stretch. I think obviously with the West Ham experience, there was a lot of pressure there, which obviously took his physical toll on him. But yeah, I mean, I never had a bad word about Glenn as a person, as a manager. As I say, the fact that he got me into West Ham, and as it happens, I'm going to West Ham tomorrow to do some stuff for the club. So it's going to be a sad day there as well. But shocks. I mean, I can't. I had lots of managers, lots of different experiences with them all. But as I say, I mean, because Glenn wanted me to be his first signing, and he spoke to me about what he planned to do at West Ham, I felt obviously honoured that he'd considered me to be the right person to bring in. So. I owe Glenn a lot for that opportunity.
David, was one of his big qualities you said about, the man management side, but the honesty. Like in the game, there's a lot of managers that aren't straight and honest with you, but Glenn Roeder was one of those rarities. Yeah,
and as I say, to a fault, because unfortunately, when you're honest, some people want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Again, it's not positive, but we were arguably the best team to ever go down. Back in 2003, and I don't think it's an argument that there were players that took advantage of Glenn's good nature and possibly put us in that position. But at the same time, that was Glenn the person, and I respect him for being that person. I think if he'd have been tried to be someone else, then it wouldn't have been good at all. So, and put it this way, if I didn't like him, I wouldn't be on the phone speaking to you guys now about him, because as I say, I'm shocked. With the news today, it's very sad that such a wonderful bloke has passed away.
Glenn, we remember when he was ill as West Ham manager. How did you react, and how did the team react to when you found out that he was so unwell?
Well, obviously shocked, because this wasn't something that was sort of built up over a period of time. The tumour occurred, and I mean, we're not experts. I wasn't an expert in any kind of medical stuff, so you just assume that it's the pressures of the job. Given that he did recover, or supposedly recover properly, again, I'm surprised that it's been ongoing, apparently, possibly from that first instance. At the same time as well, I think from a professional perspective, West Ham Football Club had to try and get itself out of a relegation position, which we didn't do ultimately. But there's a combination of having to be professional in playing the game, and obviously in the back of your mind, concerned about the well-being of your manager. It was just a very difficult time for us professionally, but at the same time, what happens to an individual like Glenn is always going to be bigger than the game of football. And unfortunately, if today is any result of what occurred then it's taken the ultimate price.
Your texts are coming in. A text from Mick in Essex says, "What sad news. As the West Ham fan, I just want to say Glenn Roeder's Claret and Blue Army." David, Coley and Perry mentioned him as a player. I remembered him being that cultured defender. Do you remember him as a player as well?
Oh, I'm laughing now. Yeah, because there's certain things, obviously, as a manager, but as a player, he was playing for Watford. Watford we were in a relegation battle. We were winning. I think we scored late in the game. And it might have even been him that scored, forgive me, but the first thing he did is fall on the floor, pretend to be injured, wait some time. And I remember the commentary saying Glenn Roeder using all his experience. It was, Glenn had a slightly different gait, which he used to laugh about, and the teammates used to laugh about with him. So he was such a good bloke as a player, as a manager.
Another text coming in here from Glenn. He says, I remember Glenn from my youth team days at Watford. I was in the same team as Gifton Noel Williams. I remember him. I was about 14, 15 when I was absolutely amazed. They addressed me by my name before one of our matches. I thought, how does this first team manager even know who I am? He treated us youngsters ones like we're in the first team. Very polite and very approachable. Is that what he was like? Just respected everyone, knew everyone? Because there are managers like that, they say, right, that know everyone throughout, not just the first team, but the reserves, the youth team as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically Glenn in a nutshell there. I mean, as I say, very, very decent person. Treat everyone the same. When it came to playing context, obviously you have to manage the team to win games, but very respectful, very highly respected. I'm sure Coley would agree with that. I haven't heard I haven't heard what he said today, but I don't know anyone who would question Glenn Roeder's character. And that text message you got there, as I say, is basically a nutshell of what Glenn Roeder was about. He was a very honest, decent man.
Is that what he was like? Sorry, Perry, is that what he was like, Coley?
Yeah, 100%. Like I touched on, he tried to sign me when I was a player. He was involved with England as well. When I had my few appearances with England, he was always a man you could always have a good conversation with. You could have a laugh and joke with him as well. Didn't take things too serious. So like I said beforehand, when you hear news like this, it does upset you. Really
Perry,
does.
Sorry, Perry, I interrupted there, mate.
No, I was just saying we talked about Glenn on the pitch, like the class that he had, trying to play out from the back, and just he sort of had the balance, and so he had that class on the pitch, and then obviously more importantly he had the class as a human being off of it. Do you know what I mean? So as David said there, you won't hear anybody say a bad word about Glenn Roeder at all. No. It'll all be glowing terms, and that's a testament to the human, not just the excellent football that he was, but the human being that he was.
I just wonder, David, obviously you were part of that team that got relegated. I think it was 42 points. Arguably, as you say, I think one of the best teams to ever go down. Do you think people forget the first season in charge of him at West Ham when he finished 7th and almost don't remember him being a great manager that got West Ham to 7th rather than everyone remembering the manager that got West Ham relegated?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the sort of the glory or lack of glory, shall I say, from that relegation season was always going to overshadow what he did the season before. And interestingly, listening to a lot of the commentary about West Ham now and how well they're doing this season is kind of underpinned by that line that their best finish was 7th, and it was Glenn Roeder's year. Or the best season in many years was that season that Glenn took over. I mean, I didn't actually start that season through injury, but I came into a side which was doing really well. And as you say, Glenn didn't really get the credit because within 12 months we're in a relegation battle, which started very early in the season, and as I say, we didn't make it out. But what Perry's saying now, I mean, this is the thing. There's a footballing side, and as a footballer, he's wonderful. But if you're a bad person, then I don't think the football side really matters too much. I think this was a genuinely wonderful man who happened to be a gifted footballer as well. But I'd remember the man more than I would the footballer.
David